Hello, and thanks for checking out this latest video forecast from Convective Weather. I'm forecasting Nathan Kitchens here with you. Hope you all are having a great Monday. Let's take a look at our current weather highlights across the country. Big story across the south is the heat and the humidity. It's oppressive out there. We have heat advisories here in the orange color here. Anywhere in this orange color, heat advisory in place. Seeing air temperatures well into the 90s. But again, the humidity is very high, so you factor in that humidity, and it feels like it's well into the 100s, making it very, very unpleasant out there. And looking at parts of central and south Mississippi and Louisiana, you guys are under an excessive heat warning. Anywhere in this purple here, that's where we're seeing temperatures, actual air temperatures approaching 100 degrees. But you add in that humidity, and it feels between, say, 110 and up to perhaps as high as 120 heat indices, so extremely uncomfortable. This is dangerous stuff. Many people don't realize just how dangerous it can be on your body. You really want to stay hydrated and don't overdo it out there. Again, just be very, very careful out there, and the heat will continue to stay in place here across portions of Texas here, where you guys are just baking, and you guys will continue to see the heat throughout the rest of the week. Let's look at the current radar map across the country. If I get the radar up here, we have numerous showers and storms going on across portions of the Midwest and into the eastern part of the country here. We have the Chicago area as of 4 o'clock Eastern time getting in on some shower and thunderstorm activity. Going to make for a kind of a rough evening commute perhaps for you guys. Any of these downpours come through, just kind of blinding. You have the windshield wipers going on full speed, trying to keep your visibility, trying to make sure you can see where you're going. It's going to be very rough out there at times as these showers and storms just kind of pull on through this evening. And you can see the Indianapolis area, also another area that will be getting on some storms this evening. And just numerous storms throughout the Ohio Valley and into parts of the south. The Appalachians here getting on some storms this afternoon. A pretty good cluster of storms now here from southeast Tennessee, Chattanooga area, and into northwest Georgia. Pretty good cluster of storms here, continuing to push to the south and to the east. Just numerous storms here across portions of Ohio and heading up into parts of southern Ontario here, also getting on some showers and storms. And you can see the storms continue here across portions of Illinois and heading out into parts of Missouri. Some thunderstorms throughout this area. And parts of northern Texas getting a little bit of relief from the heat in terms of a little bit of rain and shower and storm activity showing up this afternoon across this area through here along this frontal boundary. And you can see across New England, across the I-95 corridor here, pretty quiet this afternoon. You guys are mainly just seeing the very hot temperatures this afternoon. New York City getting back into the lower 90s. But you guys will get in on the showers and storms heading into late tonight into tomorrow. It could be a little bit rough for that morning commute tomorrow on Tuesday across the I-95 corridor, and I'm going to talk more about that here in a second. But first I want to show you the severe weather risk for the rest of this afternoon and this evening and into tomorrow as well. So for the rest of today, we will run the risk for a few severe storms across portions of the Ohio Valley and the parts of the Appalachians here, and in parts of, say, Atlanta, Georgia. You guys are also included in that marginal threat for this evening. Again, not a major deal when it comes to any severe weather, but just continue to be weather aware. And heading into Tuesday, everything kind of shifting to the east. This frontal boundary pushes farther to the east. You can see a marginal threat for some showers, a marginal threat for some severe storms across the I-95 corridor, across portions of the east, and heading down into parts of the Carolinas and into the Gulf Coast region. That's where we're going to be watching for some severe storms, potential for some severe storms as we head into Tuesday. Let's look at the high-resolution rapid refresh model. Let's look at the progression of the showers and storms throughout the rest of the afternoon and this evening. Again, don't take this for an absolute depiction of what the radar will look like, but this should give you the general idea of how this activity will evolve throughout the rest of the evening. You can see numerous showers and storms throughout the Midwest and the Northeast this evening. And as we head into later this evening into tonight, boy, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Ohio, you guys certainly kind of want to, if you have plans to be outside this evening, just be mindful that there will be numerous showers and storms that will likely have big impacts on any outdoor plans this evening. And heading into tonight, this whole system begins to push farther to the east. So we're talking about parts of New York, Pennsylvania, a solid shield of showers and storms coming on through tonight. And as we head into towards after midnight into tomorrow morning, watch this activity continuing to push farther to the east. This is the map by 2 a.m. Look how it's getting closer and closer to Philadelphia here, kind of on your doorstep here by 2 or 3 in the morning, getting very close to you. And eventually, by the time we get towards, say, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, this activity will be quickly approaching the New York City area. The Big Apple going to be getting in on some showers tomorrow morning. So the morning commute will be quite wet, and it could be a little bit of a tricky commute for these areas, these big cities here. Boston, you might luck out for the morning commute. We'll see the timing of this rain, but Boston, you guys will get in on some rain tomorrow. Certainly by the mid to late morning and afternoon, you'll be under the gun for some showers and storms as this whole system and this frontal boundary continues to push east. Again, we have this front that's pushing through. We have the jet stream that's dipping down. That's going to be an enhancement for some of the severe storms, these upper level winds. So we will have to watch for some of these storms that tap into those stronger winds aloft, and could produce damaging winds at the surface. But again, we're not talking about a widespread major severe weather risk by any means. We're not even under a slight risk. We're under a marginal risk. So it gives you an idea that the severe risk here is not great. But it's not zero, but it's not really a great risk for severe storms either. So just be mindful. Certainly want to be weather aware across this area. And again, we have a moisture-laden atmosphere with a lot of moisture out there. These storms can produce some very heavy rainfall in a short period of time. So flash flooding not out of the question by any means. So we'll be watching the progression of this frontal boundary over the next few days. Let's look at the Weather Prediction Center, a branch of the NOAA here, showing you the fronts and precipitation over the next few days. Again, we have this front that's pushing through. Let's look at the map for tonight. Here's the front right here in the associated area of low pressure here across southern Ontario. And as we head into tonight and into Tuesday, this whole system pushing farther to the east. I just showed you that in the HRRR model. And as we head into tomorrow morning, this would be by the morning commute time frame. Again, the big cities could be getting on some soaking rain across the I-95 corridor. And heading into the rest of the day, showers and storms will be likely across this area. And as we head into Wednesday, we're going to see this front pushing offshore, and once that front moves offshore, we're going to have some good weather coming in. We're going to have much lower humidity and some sunshine, and it's really going to be some great weather coming in once the system pushes through. By mid to late week, looking much better for a lot of these areas. And let's take a look at the dew points. We look at dew points as a measure of the amount of moisture in the air. Right now, we've got a tropical air mass here, a lot of moisture out there. We're seeing the numerous showers and storms. But as we head into the next few days, watch how this all begins to change. That front pushes farther to the east. And behind that front, we have an unseasonably dry air mass coming in. So this will bring huge relief as far as the humidity is concerned, heading into tomorrow and Wednesday, once the front pushes through. And you can see by Wednesday, much lower humidity all the way down here through parts of central Alabama and central Georgia. You guys even will be getting on this drier air. So pretty far south to see this drier air getting down into parts of the almost the Gulf Coast region. But unfortunately, that front kind of gets hung up here. So that will keep parts of Florida in that very tropical air mass, of course. You guys that's nothing abnormal for you guys by any means. And of course, this front looks to get hung up here across portions of Florida, and that can mean some more heavy rain for areas that don't need it, like Tampa, Florida, getting in on some just unprecedented amounts of rain over the past several weeks. And it looks like Tampa, Florida could be one of those spots that could get in on some torrential rainfall again this week. So more flooding concerns potentially for you guys. But again, the main story here, once this front pushes through, we're going to see a big relief for a lot of areas. The Midwest, New England, by the time we get into Wednesday, you guys will feel great. And even the Southeast as well. By the middle of the week, feeling much better in the humidity department for most of you. Again, closer you are to the Gulf Coast, again, it's going to still be quite humid, but for most of you guys, some relief is coming as far as the humidity is concerned. Let's look at the mid-level heights for this week, showing you the general trough and ridge pattern across the country. If I can get to it here, I apologize for not having my maps organized very well here. But at any rate, here we go. Looking at the European 500 millibar geopotential heights. And as we head into the next few days, again, we have this big ridge across portions of Texas. It's baking out here, very hot. We have this trough pushing into parts of the east. A northwesterly flow here in the upper levels across portions of the Midwest, bringing in some dry air. Just great stuff for the dog days of August. It's not going to feel like August at all, feeling much more like perhaps a hint of fall, certainly more like mid-September weather to say the least for you guys. Some very nice stuff for what is typically a very hot and humid time of year. But unfortunately, the bad news is parts of Texas that have been baking in the heat, you guys won't see much of any relief coming this week. And in fact, if anything, this ridge just kind of expands heading into the mid and latter portions of the week. So if you're in Texas and even into the Four Corners region, there is no relief in sight for you guys as far as the heat is concerned. And once we head into the late week and into the weekend, this air mass, this cool push of air coming in behind this front, the air mass will begin to modify some more. So once we get closer to the weekend, parts of the Midwest and the Northeast will get back to a little more seasonable temperatures. And then we'll watch for potentially another frontal boundary pushing down into the upper plains and Midwest by the time we get later on into the weekend. Okay, so again, I want to show you the NAM, a depiction of how this will all set up over the next several days, showing you the rest of today. We have the showers and storms pushing through. I already talked about that, so let's go forward into Wednesday. The front moves offshore. Very dry. Look how quiet it will be across a good part of the country here as we head into Wednesday. High pressure at the surface here from the Midwest into the Ohio Valley. Very, very good stuff. Lots of sun, low humidity, pleasant temperatures. I just talked about that. And heading into Wednesday night and into Thursday, again, high pressure remaining here at the surface. So some very nice quiet weather. We have our next area of low pressure here watching here across portions of central Ontario. We'll have a front dragging down, so this might bring a little bit of rainfall into parts of New England by the tail end of the work week and into maybe the first part of the weekend. The system could provide a little bit of rainfall for portions of upstate New York and perhaps parts of Vermont and New Hampshire. But overall, looking pretty good across the Midwest for this upcoming work week. And also, before I go, I wanted to talk about the tropics. We have another system here organizing right now across parts of the Eastern Pacific. It's been in a very, very active season here when it comes to the hurricanes across the Pacific. Very, very active season to say the least. And we've had many, many systems try to make a run towards Hawaii, but it seems like every system has had some kind of situation where we've seen the system weaken. Even last week, this time last week, we were watching a system that could affect Hawaii, and it looked like we had all the ingredients together to perhaps keep this system from dying out as it moved towards Hawaii. But sure enough, once again, Hawaii was spared from what could have been a good storm. And Hawaii has been spared from a lot of these storms this summer. But we just saw this past weekend, if you watch the national headlines much, you know, Typhoon Sudler, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Typhoon Sudler just devastating for parts of China and Taiwan. I'm told so far they confirmed that there have been 26 deaths, and obviously we've seen so much destruction from the high winds and the very heavy rains as well. Again, these systems are huge, produce just enormous amounts of rain. In fact, I've seen rain totals, reports coming in of over 50 inches of rain. Imagine 50 inches of rain. We're talking about more rain than what many areas see, even in the wet areas of the country. That's more rain than what you typically see perhaps throughout most of the year. Imagine getting all that rain condensed into a period of a couple days. It's unimaginable, and you can imagine why we're seeing so much flooding, so much devastation across these areas. Really heartbreaking, and definitely sending out our thoughts and prayers to those areas affected by the very destructive weather for those areas. So, as I just talked about this Hurricane Hilda, we have Hurricane Hilda now developing here across portions of the Eastern Pacific as of Monday afternoon. However, we have a lot of shear. There's going to be things working against the system. We have a lot of the system will be heading towards cooler waters. So that's one ingredient that's going to allow the system to weaken. And perhaps the biggest factor in why the system will be weakening is the fact that we're going to have a lot of shear working against the system. A lot of shear. Winds in the mid and upper levels moving from southwest to the northeast. That shear is going to just tend to tear apart these storms, tear apart the system. So even though it looks like the system might try to take the track right into parts of Hawaii, it's going to the system is really going to be weakening. You can see the icon here. We have a hurricane icon right now. Of course, we have sustained winds at 90 miles per hour. But once we head into the middle part of the week, by the time we get into Wednesday, this is a tropical storm depicted by this S symbol. But once we get into Thursday and into Friday, look out, it downgrades to a D. That means depression. So you can see by the time we get into the D category, we have winds under 39 miles per hour. It's a tropical depression, and expected to be a tropical depression as it tracks through parts of Hawaii very late this week and into parts of the weekend. So again, the system is, as of now, certainly looks to weaken as it pushes towards Hawaii later on this week. Well, that is about all I have for your latest video forecast. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you all have a great week. Thanks for watching.